Good afternoon. Welcome to Monday Football. This is the show that gives you everything that was happening in the world of football over the weekend. Today, a very, very special edition that we have for you. We are discussing what do we need to do in terms of officiating in this country. To join us in the conversation, our retired referee seated right behind me, and there's no hiding anything today. We are talking the truth and nothing but the truth. The issues that you've had with referees, talk to us on #MondayFootball. Let us know what questions you have for GMT and his team. They'll be here to answer. Very interesting faces here and names. We'll get back to that a little bit later. But first, we need to look at what else we have in the show, Bernard.
Of course, Michael, can you definitely have the referees here, the former referees here, just to interact with us, tell us about officiating, a very integral aspect as far as the beautiful game is concerned. But also this afternoon we are honored to have two gentlemen, that is Mr. Calvin and Mr. John. The two gentlemen, of course, who participate in the video segment here on Monday Football, and they have a referee, Michael Kigen Waiga Mwaura, and that is our very own Amanda. She had dominated the previous round of the Xbox, the video game segment. But Waiga Mwaura, of course, we're also having the highlights. It was in a busy weekend as far as the game is concerned locally.
Well, Ndong, you've called them Mr. John and Mr. Calvin, so I guess it's Mr. Mike, Mr. Ndong, and Mr. Wahiga.
Absolutely.
I like that, I like that. Well, let's take a look at what else you can expect for the better part of this show coming up on Monday Football. In secondary school football, is that where it begins? Now, you can call him the Wizard. Tusker FC's Jesse Were scored a hat-trick yesterday to top the top scorers table. And finally, David fails to fell Goliath as Mathare United draw with the mighty Gor Mahia.
Of course, Waiga Mwaura will be focusing on the matches themselves. It's been a busy weekend. What's the top story you have this afternoon?
Well, we have the top. Actually, before we get to the top story, let's give you our news poll question.
Yes.
And we are asking you, because we have retired referees here in studio, are referees the major cause, one of the biggest contributors to the chaos that we see in football, whether in Kenya or across the world? But I guess today we are focusing on the Kenyan scene. What role do referees play when it comes to chaos or the challenges that we see on the field? Let us know your feedback. 22422 is our SMS line. Talk to us also using the hashtag #MondayFootball. We'll only read the tweets that have that hashtag, so make sure you get those instructions right. And focusing on hooliganism now, a football match between Kakamega High School and St. Anthony Kitale was interrupted and discontinued following chaos that erupted after the center referee and first referee assistant failed to agree on a goal that was scored by Kakamega High School in the second half. Now, the police had to shoot in the air as they whisked away central referee Gabriel Itela after the rowdy fans blocked his way out of the pitch. The match was the final of the Nzoia division in the Term 2B school games. Let's take a look at how that played out.
Well, a small clarification there. That is Anthony. Gabriel apparently is his father. Now, let's take a look at the Kenyan Premier League, and Gor Mahia FC restored their 12-point cushion at the top of the Kenyan Premier League after blanking Thika United by 2-0 a match that was played at the City Stadium. After barring first half, Godfrey Walusimbi's cracker in the 62nd minute opened the scoring for the league leaders 15 minutes to the end. Michael Olunga nodded in the second for a comfortable 2-0 win.
Doing okay. They just won the game today, and they look as if they're playing fine. So I think they're dealing with it okay. Yeah.
We're putting together a team which is going to fight in the next couple of seasons, which will grow together, develop together, and if we can play football like we're doing now against the league champions, imagine what we're going to be like in 2 or 3 years' time.
Well, it definitely was a busy week last week in the Kenyan Premier League, and at the Nyayo National Stadium, AFC Leopards came from behind to edge out KCB 2-1. KCB even squandered a penalty in the second half while still at 1-1. Now, the winning goal for Ingwe came deep in stoppage time with new signing Patrick Petit Kagogo's sublime free kick, I beg your pardon, going in off the upright.
Actually, I'm disappointed because the team played so well. We dominated most of the first half, especially in the first 30 minutes, and then also in the second half we were in the game until we got that penalty. So that penalty demoralized the team a bit.
This game showed Kenya has the quality, you know. People are making excuses, we haven't got quality here. Quality is here. This type of the game today was a very exciting game. Last 20 minutes or second half time was all of us were on our toes. And we lost lots of key players, and they think we are weak. They're wrong.
A lot of feedback already coming in on the question, are referees to blame for some of the chaos that we have seen in Kenyan football? And AFC Mvinyo says, you blame AFC and Gor, so I think the referees are to be blamed. Kwanza hawa KPL, I don't know what you mean by that. GMT will be able to answer you on that one. Kirimi Dedan says some of their late decisions cause some tensions in the field. And somebody else, this is Meshak Nyaudi, says yes, mostly poor in decision making and during the match. That is your feedback. Major Wagitugi says as fans our expectations are so high, so when a team falls below par, then the pressure goes on to the referees. That will be one of our talking points. What happens when the pressure is too much, when the teams are feeling that their teams are not getting the results that they want? When the fans put too much pressure on the referees, what happens on that field?
A question of interpretation as well, Michael Kinyi. Well, Chameleon Sugar slumped to a 1-0 defeat to Sofapaka. This goal was scored by Ugandan Herman Waswa, and he scored in his debut for Sofapaka, who won the title last in 2009.
We created 4 chances, 4 clear chances. To me, there were 4 clear chances, but we did not utilize them well.
To be working on the mistakes which I had today, and then improve on the right things we did so that we can continue from there.
Well, Ulinzi Stars settled for a 1-1 draw with Tusker, but the game I'm interested in us looking at for now is AFC Leopards versus Ushuru. And AFC Leopards climbed up to 3rd on the log for just a day with a hard-fought 1-0 win over Ushuru FC at the City Stadium. Here's that match.
For clarification there, that is not the match that was put there on the ident. Now we take a look at a match that actually took place over the weekend. Another one. This is FC Leopards. They climbed up to 3rd on the log for just a day. A hard-fought 1-0 victory over Ushuru FC at the City Stadium.
Him and Karamoli know each other well. They must have practiced defending free kicks. That one into the box and the header. Oh, what a goal! AFC Leopards take the lead. Noga Rustic in 7th heaven. And the fans are screaming in joy.
It's a wonderful team that can beat any team anytime. It's a good team, it's a good side, yeah.
Well, let's talk a bit about Sofapaka, and their chase of league leaders Gor Mahia suffered a huge setback when they unexpectedly lost 2-0 to KCB in a KPL match that was played at the City Stadium this weekend. Here are the highlights of that match.
Very short, but again very powerful rounds in that KCB rearguard.
Crispin Anyango, can he shoot a goal? Oh, what a goal! KCB against the run of play take the first lead.
Luke Ochieng,
Ochieng up front. Opportunity for Crispinas. Oh, what a goal! Second goal for Crispinas, and that one has actually buried Sofapaka.
The game plan, because the Sofapaka team have not gelled well, so we try to use that advantage because they are not like the previous Sofapaka that used to play.
Proper pattern of play like we used to, due to a big number of new faces, but eventually it will come.
Well, we'll get to the first part of the interview where we have retired referees in studio. These are the people who have put the Kenyan football scene on the map in terms of officiating, and I will let GMT introduce the people in studio. GMT Otieno, of course. We all know him. Is there? So GMT, please introduce what tuko nao kwa studio. We're asking for introductions. We want to know all the referees in the studio today. I don't believe you're retired. Once a referee, always a referee. Yes, your microphone is on.
Thank you very much, Mike. On my immediate left is Mike.
Let me confirm. Let me confirm. Let me confirm.
1, 2, 1, 2. No, it's not working. All right, we have another microphone there.
Okay, let's get this one. Are we okay on this one, Robert?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. Thank you very much, Mike.
My immediate left is Maxim Itur, a long-time former retired FIFA referee. My immediate right is John Boss, also a retired referee and also a former official of the then Kenya Football Federation, Nairobi branch. Next to me, some boss, is Frank Musungu, also retired but now match commissioner. In fact, all the team behind with me are match commissioners in the Kenyan Premier League. Next is Mr. Alfred Ndinya, also a long-time former FIFA referee, almost served FIFA referee 7 years. Next to Mr. Ndinya is Peter Waswa Baraza, who is also a national treasurer of Kenya Football Referees Association. Immediately behind me is Crispin Oduor, also known as Katon. And next to Mr. Katon is Alex Njoroge, who is acting assistant secretary of Kenya Football Referees Association. And of course, GMT Otieno, the national chairman of Kenya Football Referees Association. Thank you very much.
First question, which is very pertinent, and that's the question that everybody is asking. Are you happy with the level of officiating in KPL at the moment?
Yes, I am. And save for a few occasional human errors which are there even with players themselves, because as you rightly say, KCB lost a match because they lost a penalty. So as it happens with the referees making human errors, players also make human errors, and therefore I don't think there's anything that we can be very much seriously concerned about. I'm satisfied with the level of officiating.
You have been accused of not using FIFA referees in KPL. What is the position with that?
I think that question can rightly be answered by the Federation, and more specifically Mr. Nyamwe, because we are playing Kenyan Premier League, and those FIFA referees are supposed to officiate Kenyan Premier League. The reason why they are being denied opportunity to officiate, only Mr. Nyamwe can answer that.
Actually, that brings me to my next question, because the last round of matches that were played in the CHAN and Cup of Nations qualifiers, Kenyan referees were nowhere to be seen. What was the reason behind it? Because we understand names were forwarded to CAF, but they were never used.
CAF will insist, CAF and FIFA for that matter will insist on using referees that participate in the senior most league in their respective countries. So if they were not used, then that tells very clearly that unless our referees are I mean, so long as our referees are not being used in the senior league in the country, then they don't deserve to be officiating outside the country.
As the chairman of the Referees Association, don't you think this is one of the things that should be addressed by the association in terms of we have our referees, they have the badges, but they're not officiating on the senior league? What can the association do to compel the federation to avail these referees for the top league?
Mike, the situation in which we are is very unfortunate because, first of all, the technical body in the federation is being led by a technically incompetent person.
Okay.
Who has no, perhaps he doesn't even know law 1 in the referee's chart. So how would he be in a position to advise the federation correctly as to the usage or utilization of the senior most referees in the country? We do not mind if a lay person leads the organization, but his immediate assistant should be a technocrat who is able to advise the federation accordingly.
So, how did it work previously? Because I know of a joint appointments committee that you used to have, and we never had issues when there was a JCC between KPL and the federation, FKF. What became of that JCC?
As far as I'm concerned, KPL, let me say not me, but as far as KPL concerned, the joint appointment committee is supposed to be there. But for some reason or another, it was unilaterally disbanded by the federation. So, the KPL said, our members, our 2 officials are still available as and when the federation will come back to its senses to reactivate the committee.
So, we've seen new names coming up on the referees. Some have been accused of coming off retirement. I mean, where do you get the referees for KPL right now that you don't have the FIFA referee?
Mike, I can tell you for sure that there is no referee officiating in the Premier League as of now who has been recalled from retirement. They are all referees who are active and are still active.
This past weekend, what's her name? Dorcas officiated. We had an all-women crew officiating a KPL match led by, she's called Dorcas?
No, it's Judy Muhonja.
Judy Muhonja.
Yes.
I mean, was there any pressure on these female referees? Because they're not the first ones, but given that they're new in the Premier League, I've never seen her at the center any other day. Was there any pressure? How do you prepare such referees for such high magnitude of matches?
Now, before we started the ongoing second leg, we had a pet, previously known as Kupate. Now
Yes.
it is physical injury theft. And that lady ran the main distance and she passed very well. So there would be no reason for us, for KPL, to deny her the opportunity. And if she can officiate the main league, then that goes without saying that she will be better off with the women league.
Jimji, how do you address the concerns that we have? Because week in, week out, I will start with on Saturday. Ken Kenyatta from Ushuru complained that the referee was biased against Ushuru, that he was denied 2 penalties. Go to the midweek match between Thika United and Gor Mahia, and the Thika players were up in arms that the referee was biased against Thika. I don't know why they're complaining about the second goal. I don't know what the match report says. How do you address these issues, the complaints that raise out of these games?
Mike, I want to dismiss those complaints as coming from coaches who have lost a match. Let me give you a good
Just hold on 1 second. My director is telling me we've got the clip of Kenyatta. Let's listen to Ken Kenyatta first, then you can address that issue.
Thank you.
The game was tough, but the referees have contributed so much. He denied me like 2 penalties.
He says the game was tough, but the referee contributed to my loss. I was denied 2 penalties. Jim.
Mike, I want to refer you back to a match between Thika and FC in Thika.
Yes.
When there was a complaint of the goal having been scored from an outside position, when I saw it on the computer screen,
yes,
I tended to agree and even castigated the assistant referee.
Yes.
When I saw it later in a more wider screen, I was satisfied the assistant referee was right, and since I've called him to congratulate him for having remained firm to his decision because he was better placed. Another example I want to give you was a match between Gor Mahia and Mathare yesterday.
Yes.
The goal that was cancelled.
Yes.
I also want to congratulate that referee because he stood his ground, he was in a better position, and despite the fact that he was in an area which is where the referees are normally pelted with stones, he still stood his ground. And I want to congratulate Gor Mahia for accepting the referee's decision because that referee is a Luo from Siaya.
Yes.
If he was from Bungoma, they would have said he was trying to be
biased. Against God.
But he himself was a Luo himself.
Yes.
And I'm sure in his heart he's supporting Gor Mahia.
So, GMT, back to the question. How do you address such complaints? Like now, Kenyatta, for example. Do you give them a right of reply? Does KPL, as the Referees Association, tell them or explain to them exactly what happened? Or how do you go about it? Because that one will go, Thika United will complain, and there'll be no feedback. Then they'll feel like you're against it.
Thank you, Mike. I'm waiting for the Referees and Match Commissioner's report. And I've discussed that briefly with my CEO and our logistics officer. And we have agreed Kenyatta has been negatively addressing referees, and we are not going to take it anymore. It is going to be addressed. And I'm told, I don't want to preempt, that there was an executive council meeting, emergency one at the office this morning, and they were not amused with the complaints raised by Kenyatta.
So the KPL rules state that you shall not criticize the match officials after the game?
I think this one goes, it is everywhere, even in the FA. If a referee talks, or rather a coach talks negatively against a referee, it's normally sanctioned. And I think we are not going to be the exception. I think we have been too lenient, and we are not going to remain lenient anymore with coaches who derogatively refer to referees, and I mean once they have lost matches. Thank you.
Now, that is Kenyatta. Yesterday, I remember one, and we shall get the clip for you. Matano, when he lost to Gor Mahia again, he said that referee should not even officiate in school games, primary school games. He is not qualified at all. He should be a village referee. I don't know if a village referee is a lesser referee than a qualified referee, because once you're a referee, you're a qualified referee. How do you deal with such? Is it retrogressive? You'll go back to those retrogressive, I mean, you'll go back to the comments
Mike, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Has Matano since lost a match with any other referee? If he has, then that referee is as qualified as any others, and if he lost a match, he lost fair.
Okay. Well, we'll get back, Robert. I don't know where we're going next. I want us to continue with the rest of the intros. Then when we come back to the referees, we'll be talking about their experiences. They've got stories to tell us that will make you laugh one way or the other. Bernard.
Absolutely. Of course, the question we're asking this afternoon, do you believe that the referees are the cause for chaos as far as Kenyan football is concerned? The responses are coming in quick and fast, and this is at Gabriel Tito. You say that referees are not the cause of chaos. It was how fans interpret the ever-changing laws of the game. Somebody else supports him. This is Munga Bernard. He says, no, because as we all know, there are bodies to deal with these referees who judge wrongly rather than fighting. We have another one here. This is Kevin Odhiambo. He says, he thinks otherwise. He says, yes, because they have the final say, and this should have to be based on this is based on a vital decision which should not be biased. And another one here, this is at Vin Alushian. I believe that is, I don't know how it's pronounced, it's been written. But he says, yes, they sure contribute to the hooliganism that's going down to the teenage level. Interesting sentiments, Waiga.
That's right, Don. Keep sending us all your feedback. I'm a bit disappointed in the SMSs. I thought we'd have more. Send them. We'll try and read as many of them as we can, because we know not everyone is on social media. Nevertheless, use the hashtag MondayFootball on social media, Twitter and Facebook, and let us know your thoughts on this topic and, of course, on all matters concerning football, even as we focus on what happened last week. And interesting match out there now. If there's a day when a team thanks its football gods, then Gor Mahia are still doing that since last night. You ask why? Because nothing was working for the league champions in a match against Mathare United. But Medikegere saved their blushes with an equalizer as they salvaged a 1-1 draw in an entertaining Kenyan Premier League match at the Nyayo National Stadium.
After the break, we'll be taking a look at more Kenyan Premier League matches as well as quick fire and as well as an interaction with the retired referees as Michael Kinya jumps more as far as officiating is concerned. We'll be back after this.
Welcome back to Monday Football, of course, and bearing in mind that today we are hosting retired referees, I thought it's only prudent or necessary that we play some music from their days. Bwana GMT, if you can hear me, and I hope you have the microphone with you. Now we have it's going to be repaired. Because I wanted him to give us a shout out, his favorite song, and we will play that a bit later on. But because the mic has gone, we'll get that to him a bit later on. Nevertheless, our DJ here, Crossfade, has got some music and play something. Tuone kama wazee watarukaruka kidogo. Referees can dance. I know they can. So let's see how they will do it. Let's go. Tabule taking us into Monday Football. Wamekata Mike. Oh, but look, he's That's more like it.
I know Katon cannot dance to this one. He was not born when the beat played. GMT, maybe tell us, where does this music take you back to?
Several years back. I can't remember which years.
But what was happening at that time? Were you refereeing at that time?
Of course, I started refereeing in 1973. And I believe that song came much later after 73.
Of course it did.
Yeah.
What was the experience in Congo? Did you ever officiate a game in Congo?
In Congo?
Yes.
No. I never officiated any match in West Africa.
Yes.
But I officiated matches in Mauritius.
Yes.
Zambia, Tanzania, Uganda, Burundi, Sudan, Ethiopia,
yes,
Uganda.
Well, I'll ask Itur to give us some of his experiences. Itur, yes, I remember you officiated a game in South Africa. Was it South Africa?
In South Africa, I officiated at Port Elizabeth.
Yes.
But it's one I officiated at Port Louis in Mauritius.
Which was the game that you felt under so much pressure as a referee officiating, internationally or locally?
Yeah, it was that one, Mauritius versus Bafana, South Africa.
What was happening in that game?
It was, there had a lot of tension.
Yes.
It was a deciding match. Qualification to Cup of Nations between Mauritius and South Africa.
Yeah.
And Mauritius being a small football nation,
so to speak,
South Africa underrated them.
Yes.
So when the match started, of course, Mauritius went ahead and scored.
Yes.
So late in the match, this when South Africa equalized. So they were under pressure.
Yes.
The match ended up in a draw.
Yes.
So South Africa were worried whether they are going to be knocked out by a mere Mauritius.
Well, those are interesting stories coming from the referees. We come back to Bernard. Don't give us the next intros that we have. Taking us way back, DJ Crossfade.
Michael Kinya, this was the first time, I think, on Kenyan television that somebody is able to conduct an interview while dancing a bit. So I think I'll just continue the same breath. Jesse Were scored a hat-trick for Tusker FC as the Brewers hammered 7 Sugar by 5 goals to 1. Here are the goals.
You stopped in the middle.
Well, that's what we're talking about, pushing away. But then the ball is brought into the area. This will be the easiest one put in by Jesse Were. Brought from behind. Oniki logs it into the area. It's in the net. It's Murage. Chance will be a different game altogether, and that's what happens right now. Just a single chance. The pace is the one that killed it all. The goalkeeper doesn't touch it. Jesse Were. A very hard shot that goes into the net. Well taken by Joaquin Zatudo. A bit of difficulty for the defense. Kevin Kimani crosses the ball to Jesse Were, who puts it in the net.
No, there's nothing to celebrate, and it's just a normal game. But you know, when you have 2, 3, 4 goals, I think the confidence gets better and better to them. But it's a good show. It's a good show.
We are doing very badly. I'm not happy, especially with my defense. My defense is too shambolic.
Well, we told you there were lots of football matches in the Kenyan Premier League over the last 1 week, and we're not done just yet, because Ulinzi Stars moved to second in the standings following their 2-0 victory over struggling City Stars. The first goal was scored in the 40th minute by Oscar Wamalwa before Geoffrey Kokoyo doubled the lead in the 77th minute.
We continue to take a look at your feedback. Remember, this afternoon we're asking you referees to blame as far as chaos is concerned. I have a response here from Patrick. He states that referees' decisions are final. He says that referees' decisions are final, that you should not be able to castigate referees. Now, we take a look at the international front before we continue our interaction with the referees. And Ike Casillas, of course, this is a 34-year-old former captain of Real Madrid, and he's headed to former European champions FC Porto after 16 seasons at the Santiago Bernabeu. The Spain goalkeeper bid a tearful farewell as he struggled to read a short statement during a press conference held yesterday. Interestingly, his mother blamed President Fiorentina Perez for her son's departure and claimed he should have gone to Barcelona.
Well, time now for a new segment that we introduced last week, Transfer Watch. What transfers have been happening on the European continent? Now, Michael Kinya and I were arguing a few minutes ago about one of the transfers. I hope to get his voice in on that in a little bit, but let's take a look at some of the money that's been exchanging hands, and of course, players that have been moving from one club to the other. Raheem Sterling, 20 years old, makes a lot more money than I can dream of making at this time. Now, Liverpool have reached an agreement with Manchester City for the £49 million transfer of this 20-year-old. That's 7.8 billion Kenya shillings for him to move to Manchester City. He now becomes the most expensive English player ever. What were you doing at 20 years old? Think about that. And if you're not there yet, then you have a standard set for you. Let's take a look at other transfers that have been made. Morgan Schneiderlin, he was trending on social media yesterday. Of course, Manchester United fans very happy. He's wearing his Southampton jersey there, but he'll soon be kitted with a different jersey. The midfielder made a move with a deal of £25 million, or roughly 3.9 billion Kenya shillings. Another good move there for Manchester United. The next one, however, very controversial. First of all, his name is hard to pronounce if you're a Kenyan. That's Bastian Schweinsteiger. I hope I said that right. But nevertheless, many are asking, why would Manchester United buy a 31-year-old? There's a question here. Would you want a 9-year-old Japanese car or a 31-year-old German vehicle? What's the difference between all that? Of course, many Chelsea fans. Mike, tell me what you're thinking.
Vehicles use fuel.
Oh, vehicles use fuel?
Yes. This is a human being. Bastian Schweinsteiger is over his best, and he's coming to the EPL, my friend. This is not just any other league. I don't think that's a wise thing for Manchester.
I knew Mike was gonna measure in. Well, you know what? Let the pitch prove itself. Let the player prove himself out there. His move is said to have cost £15 million or 2.3 billion Kenya shillings. Remember, Van Gaal was with him previously at Bayern, so I'm sure Van Gaal brought him in for one reason or the other. And of course, De Gea. And this is an interesting story because Manchester United are telling or have told Real Madrid, if you want him, then you have to give us 2 players. We want Sergio Ramos and we want your Costa Rica goalkeeper, Keylor Navas. And Mike Okinye and I were arguing over this. Mike, just briefly tell me why you believe you will get De Gea without giving out Sergio Ramos.
Real Madrid gets whoever he wants. Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, name them. James Rodriguez. Who's that one? Bale.
Yes.
I mean, anyone. You will say, no, we cannot give you. Give us 10 players plus this player. Everyone has a price. Waiga Maura. And De Gea wants to move to Real Madrid.
And
he's playing for a Nyoronyoto team.
Our price is Sergio Ramos. Manchester United is not Nyoronyoto.
Nyoronyoto team that struggles to qualify for
If you disagree with Mike, 22422 hashtag Monday Football. He says Manchester United is Nyoronyoto. And I like what a Capital FM reporter, Muturi Mutota, said this morning. Manchester United look like a team on a mission.
A mission on self-destruction. Getting retirees onto the board. Seriously.
All right. I will stop arguing for now. We'll carry this debate as the Premier League season kicks off next week. Let's take a look at what also has been happening. Chelsea, their manager Jose Mourinho has been cited as being a bit frustrated by the slow pace at which the club is taking in new players. This is one of their interests, however, is a midfielder, Charles Aranguiz, one of Chile's best performers in the World Cup last summer. Nevertheless, Arsenal and Manchester City also want this young man. Will Chelsea get him? Well, it depends if they are able to sign him up fast enough. Let's take a look at what's happening in Arsenal, what's happening with the Gunners. And of course, their goalkeeper, Ospina, is said to be open to for a move to Everton. The Colombian 26-year-old has described the Toffees as a very competitive team and a great possibility. Why Arsenal will want to lose this keeper, I am yet to understand. But nevertheless, we finish up, of course, with Ospina. Let us know your feedback. What do you think are some of the good transfers that have been made? Who do you think needs to buy players, and who do you think needs to sell players as well? And you could also mention on the local scene, our transfer window closed recently. Were you happy with what you saw happening on that? Let's talk in regards to that. But for now, I hand over to, is it Mike Ondong? Mike Okinye, over to you.
Well, I'll start off with your feedback that is coming in, and this one is on AFC Leopards fans. This one I know because Edwin Ambe is a die-hard AFC Leopards fan, and he says, poor officiating all over. Referees at times come to the pitch with fixed minds. Then Joe Cade, also another AFC Leopards fan, says, ask the refs about the goal scored during AFC Leopards versus Sika United. I will get straight into that and ask GMT to clarify on that one, because GMT, you watched that game. You've told us that you looked at that goal again and you stand by what the assistant referee and the referee decided on that pitch. Why was that goal contentious in the first place?
I think the goal was contentious out of ignorance, because when the ball was passed, the Thika players were running away. I mean, the FC players were running away. So, a player is adjudged the moment the ball... A player is adjudged offside the moment the ball is passed.
Yes.
Now, the moment the ball was being passed, the FC player, I mean, the Thika players were running away.
Okay.
So, I want to congratulate that assistant referee for remaining firm, because when I first looked at the goal from a small screen of a computer, I tended to agree that the goal was scored from an offside position. But when I later looked at it from a wider screen, and this one was even confirmed by Simba Soccer when they drew a line during their discussion of the following Monday.
Okay.
And it was confirmed the goal was properly scored, and therefore the complaint is out of ignorance and lack of knowledge of the laws of the game.
Bernard, you had something on the laws of the game on that video.
To put it, GMT has talked about the laws of the game, and I feel it's important at this point just to give you an idea exactly what the FIFA laws of the game say about just various issues. One of the biggest talking points has been the offside position. Now, just to try and understand what this exactly means is that it is not an offense in itself to be in an offside position if a player is nearer to his opponent's goal line than both the ball and the second last opponent, or if he is in his own half of the field of play, or if a player is level with the second last opponent, or he's level with the last two opponents. That means he's onside. But he is offside if he has done the following: interfering with play, or he interferes with another opponent, or he gains an advantage by being in that particular position. Of course, Michael Kane, it's a very big talking point. The question is interpretation.
Okay, and that is why I'll get on those rules now, GMT, where was, because I remember the last defender for AFC Leopards was Edwin Wafula. And the argument was that Edwin Wafula stepped up before the ball was played. Hence, the Thika United players were offside. So Ray Odhiambo was offside because Edwin Wafula stepped up. But what actually happened between releasing the ball and the line in which the defender and the strikers were?
Mike, I've dominated the speaking, so I would want to pass it to one of my colleagues to answer the question.
Give somebody else.
I want to pass this to Mr. Maxim Ito.
Okay. We were talking about Edwin Wafula. Did you watch the goal that was in contention? The game between Thika United and AFC Leopards?
Mike, no, I did watch.
You did watch it?
You watched?
Okay, give it to somebody. Katon can answer this one for us.
Yes, I did watch the match of AFC Leopards versus Thika United. Thika United were at home, but by the time the ball was being passed by a Thika United player, the AFC Leopards defender was lagging behind. When he realized that he won't catch up with the person who is given the pass, he decided to withdraw. As soon as he was withdrawing, the assistant referee came back with him. When meeting the person who was onside, the assistant referee ran with the person because that person was onside.
Okay.
That guy went and scored the goal, and even the Thika United players, the AFC Leopard players did not even complain because
that's the thing. They never protested the goal
because they realized that it is their own mistake, because that defender lagged behind and then he kept all the other people onside.
Okay, just pass on the mic to you.
I wanted to contribute on that. Yes. What usually happens is that from the point where the coaches are, they are not in a straight line. So they are seeing on an angle, and they will want to interpret from the angle they are seeing as if they are seeing the straight line. The assistant referee is on a straight line with the last defender, so he can be able to judge well. The players, again, they are concentrating to pray, and at the same time they want to interpret if their opponent is on offside. So they are double dealing the work, so they will end up losing their concentration. So that goal was called genuinely. The AFC defenders were lining up when the ball was on flight, and they want to say the ball was when the ball is on flight already, the ball has already been released.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, in fact, what happened, I watched the game also. At the point the Thika player was passing the ball to Odhiambo, to that man who was adjudged offside by the fans.
Yes.
At that time he was passing that ball. That is the time that Edwin Wafula also tried to go. So they happened concurrently.
Simultaneously.
And they were on the same line at that time. At that point they were on the same line. Okay. So Edwin Wafula withdrew and this man took off. And the pass has been given at the same time. So that cannot be offside.
I want to engage Alfred Ndinya at this point. Alfred, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing with our game at the moment? Because interpretation of the law clearly is the biggest challenge here. So how do we circumvent that problem? How do we make sure that as the laws are changing, we also change with times in terms of the fans and the referees? Where do we connect the three?
Before we come to that,
yes.
Actually that AFC and...
Hold the microphone.
After the AFC and Thika match, the point that everybody needs to understand, the fans, the players, and which the referees interpret, is at the moment the ball is kicked, you look at the second last defender.
Michael, actually, the clip,
position.
The clip, you can talk over the clip.
Okay, we're going to play the clip right now.
Yeah.
It will be on, so continue.
So that it is clear, there will be no doubt about offside anymore. So that you sit in a stadium at Nyayo Stadium, at City, or whichever stadium you are in. Look at the moment the ball was kicked, where was the second last defender? So that people, and the fans especially, they judge offside during the flight. During the flight of the ball.
Yes.
So that causes the confusion. So that interpretation, if fans could have to know the difference, then we'll have no confusion. There's totally no confusion at all.
In such a situation, when the ball is released,
yes,
where does the referee look at?
The referees judge at the moment. at the moment the ball is touched by that particular player, where is the position of the second last defender?
So do you look at the defender, do you look at the linesman? Where is your
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't, because the assistant referee's work is to check the offside position.
Yes.
But the referee and the assistant referee, most of them concentrate at the moment the ball is being released. Where is the position of the second last defender? So if fans look at the ball during the flight, then they'll get it wrong. Because you look at the Gor Mahia and Thika match yesterday, I think.
On Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yesterday was Gor Mahia versus
Madare.
Madare United.
Gor Mahia versus Madare. The goal that Madare scored, the boy who scored the ball, the pass that Madare received, the boy that received the ball from his teammate actually was onside, and then he went through, he passed other players. So we look at the moment, where is his teammate? Where is the position of his teammate?
So this is
what we look at.
This information, Dinya, how do we pass on this information? Because this is where my problem is. Every other time, I was with GMT yesterday at the stadium, and GMT will bear me witness that there were a lot of cries that these rules, we need to understand them, GMT. How are you guys interpreting the rules? Are we reading from different books?
The laws of the game are the same. The laws of the game will never change unless they're changed by FIFA. There is a board that changed that. So there was a culture in this country, and that culture needs to come up again, that the Referees Association needs to second referees to teams to try and educate them. But teams are difficult. They do not want to be helped to understand, so that the 16 teams in the Premier League, a referee or a team of referees can be seconded to them, try to help them understand the amendments of the law, try to educate them on the offside and the penalties that are most crucial decisions to make. So when we do that seconding to teams, that information needs to be passed to the fans also. So that can be done.
Both had something to say.
Perhaps I can also add something. Some years ago, whenever there was a seminar for referees, it was followed by a seminar to the team officials. This is the team manager as well as the coaches. And the idea here was the coach and the team manager would take that information back to their fans. Unfortunately, it's not being followed. We could have done better than that. And all this depends on the administrators.
Okay.
The administrators should realize the problem, and if there was good relationship between the referees body and the national association, I think ways could be found how to tackle this issue.
Ituri, you had something to contribute on the same.
Thank you very much, Mike. I would like to say, according to the laws of the game, actually it's not an offense for a player to be in an offside position. A player cannot just be ruled offside by being in an offside position. There are three circumstances that a player may be ruled offside. That is, interfering with play, 2, interfering with an opponent, 3, gaining an advantage by being in that position. Today, in that law 11, there's an amendment. An assistant referee should not just flag offside because a player is standing or is at an offside position. Offside is ruled when a player in an offside position participates. Participation means playing or interfering with an opponent that was going to play that ball being in an offside position. So actually that law is very tricky today. It's very challenging because 2 players can be in an offside position and one that is not in an offside position. If all the 3 go for the ball, the assistant referee should wait for a moment to wait to see who is going to play that ball. Is it the player that was already in the offside position or the oncoming player? So that one, Mr. Mike, is very challenging, and I agree with Mr. Ndinya that we sensitize both our fans and players, teams, and all of us should be knowledgeable of that law 11 offside. It's quite tricky. Many goals have been scored from offside position. Many goals have been disallowed that were not offside, that were ruled offside. Teams have been robbed goals. Teams have scored offside goals. So that law is quite tricky in our game football.
Thank you. So in short, Mike, what we are saying, the referees are available to the teams to help them understand the laws of the game. I can tell you, when Sofapaka came into Premier League,
yes,
Mr. Kalekwa called me to Jamhuri ground and I lectured the players for 3.5 hours. Didn't they win the league in their first entry to the Premier League?
Yes, they did.
Because they understood the laws. But as my colleague Boss and Tour have said, whereas the referees are there to help the clubs, they are not just going to give their time for free. A small token of appreciation for the referee to use his vehicle to go where the team is will help the players and the teams and the fans to understand the laws of the game. But some clubs don't want to spend a penny.
As we wind up, just pass the microphone behind there. As we wind up, yes.
Thank you, Mike. In this case, what I would say is that some time ago, we used to have sessions. I remember at one time,
yes,
we seconded Maxi Tour to go to Radio Jambo and educate the Kenyans on the laws of the game. With that, he did. I wish we also did the same. This is a continuous process, and you can't be 100%.
Yes.
You cannot be sure of everything. What you asked, I think it was valid, that in this case, when the ball is being released, what normally happens? What the referee looks at is whoever is releasing the ball, at the same time, he looks at the assistant, whether he's in line with the last defender and whether somebody else was there before. These days, it is that when an attacker goes towards the goal and then he returns back onside and then he's given the ball, that is an offside. That's what many people are also failing to do. It happened yesterday,
yes,
and even some people are lamenting, oh, this assistant is biased. But I think that is where people should come and should go through and know exactly what is going on.
Okay, now this is what we'll do. GMT, we will be calling on you to give us somebody every Monday in case of any contentious decision that is there over the weekend. Now that, like now, on Wednesday we had that issue of AFC Leopards, clarification there. Yesterday there was that issue of the Gor Mahia first goal that was disallowed. It has been clarified. So can we call on you that every other week we should be able to get a referee in studio to tell us, to explain to us why certain decisions were made and why the referee was right or not right on that?
Mike will gladly do that, provided you give us enough notice so that we are able to get the referee also to prepare himself and also, you know, take leave from where he works.
Okay.
So that he's able to avail himself for the period you want him.
Sawa.
Thank you very much.
We will do that. Now, we want to give you guys, whoever is willing to do this one, we normally have a session called Quickfire. And we ask you questions on everything else that has happened in this show. So if you're watching, if you're listening, all the answers are in there. Roba, ni nani tuko naye kwanza? Yes. It's called Katon. Yes. Katon will be with us on Quickfire. So Katon, just hold on. Bernard?
Absolutely. Let's just continue interaction with us. 22422 at Bernard Ndong, at Citizen TV Kenya, at Michael Key, and at Wahiga Mwaura. Remember, we were asking you earlier in the beginning of the show, do you feel that referees are to blame as far as chaos are concerned? Do you feel that referees are to blame? Well, Fumwa Rayton says that it's not the referees. He thinks that it's the influence of the fans and perhaps sometimes the big clubs who influence the referees' decisions. Interesting. This is another viewer here. This is at Ogega Vincent. He's rather talking about the transfers, but This is somebody else, Apande Digital. And you say, as much as we blame referees, let Kenyan fans behave. At Body aka interesting name. Let me just read the name that is at your Twitter handle. That is Mapesa Boniface. And you say, I personally blame the referee's decision. Unfortunately, he says that they should go back to school. David Kipiego Serem, he says that he thinks otherwise. He says that the referees did their work since they were on the field and not on the camera aided as we are. And then this is another viewer here who states that unfortunately most people don't understand the rules. So he says that this is at Ganstalisha. He says people need to make sure that they are able to understand, find out, research about the laws, read about them and find out what the laws are. It's interesting that all these laws are actually accessible online. You can actually find the laws of the game online. Just you can look at them and be able to appreciate them, for you to be able to understand what they're all about. But for now, Michael Kenya, it's time to put one of the referees, the former referees, on the spot. Quick fire.
Well, I'm with Katon. Katon, where did that name come from? Katon.
This is a nickname.
Yes, hold the microphone for me.
This is a nickname that I was given in my mtaa, known as Jericho.
Why? When you know Kakuita Katon?
I used to be called Anthony.
Yes.
But since I was very small-bodied, yes, so they called me Katon. And I was comfortable with it.
Okay. Yes. Now, Katon, are you ready? I've got a set of how many questions have I been given here? I've been given 21 questions.
Okay.
All you need to do is answer 8 correctly. Last week, the Harambee Starlets went away with the 9,000 bob. So this week, we start afresh and we start with 2,000 shillings. I hope I have that money. Yes, I've got 2,000 bob here. And it's very simple. I'll ask the questions. You have 60 seconds to answer the 8 questions. If you know an answer, you give it to me. I won't tell you if it's correct or not. If you don't know, you say pass and ask you the next question. So bidii yako ndio itakuokoa. Sawa Katon? You ready?
I'm ready.
Roba, are you ready? Okay, Katon, your 60 seconds start now. Who was the center referee for Ulinzi versus City Stars?
Pass.
How many matches has KCB lost in the last 5 matches?
Pass.
Who scored the first goal for Ulinzi versus City Stars?
Amoka.
In which tournament was the use of vanishing spray introduced?
2014.
Name one Manchester United signing for the upcoming season.
Bastian Schweinsteiger.
How many public artificial football turfs does Kenya have?
3.
Which Tusker player scored a hat-trick this past week?
Where? Yes.
Who scored for KCB during KCB versus Sofapaka?
Ponyango.
How many FIFA accredited referees does Kenya have?
16.
In which clash did Amos Ichingwa serve as center referee this weekend?
He was the center referee.
For which game?
Gor Mahia, Mathare.
When did KCB... Okay, time is up. How many correct answers? 5 correct answers, Katon. You missed 3. 3 only. Bidii yako ninakuokoa. Pesa yangu imerudi kwa mfuko. Next week, I increase the money from 2,000 bob to 4,000 bob. Katon, thank you very much. Have a seat. Next week, we do 4,000 bob. Quick fire. We'll be back. Waiga, where do we go? Waiga amepotea mahali.
Mimi nimepotea because I was here with the DJ and we were planning a set that will take us home. The referees had shown us a little bit of what they can do.
Yes.
We had not warned them. Now I think we can warn them.
Yes.
And I can see head referee GMT Otieno is also the leader on the dance floor as well.
Yes.
So I think there's no better way to wind up Monday football. Of course, thanks to everyone who's been talking to us.
Have they told you what song they want?
You're right. No,
Yes.
they haven't. Michael Kini, maybe you can have when a GMT able to... Which song can we play as we wind up? The referees special. Rumba. Rumba ni gani sasa Crosby?
You said Franco.
Iko. Oh, Franco. Okay.
Yes.
The fastest DJ in Kenya right now finds a song in 5 seconds flat, and he's got it. My goodness. Okay, let's go. Michael Kini, is there anything else? No. All right, let's take it away.
Chérie,
yeah.